Good morning, y'all. I'm Grant Benninger, and this is my response to Mr. Burns, the play. Start off with what I thought was memorable was just something that more personally connected with me than like any other play, I guess, was just the fact that it was about The Simpsons mainly. I watched The Simpsons a lot growing up, so it was just something more kind of that I could relate to on a personal level, more than other plays that didn't have stuff that I was familiar with growing up as a child. Um, I also thought it was pretty memorable how that one episode was so important throughout the entire play actually, and ended up being pretty integral to the plot and what the characters ended up basing their theater group around was their recounting of that single episode of The Simpsons, and I thought that was an interesting feature about that. Um, Three of the themes that I thought about the play was one, holding on to the familiar. Everybody, especially at the beginning, all they wanted to do was remember stuff from the old times before the apocalypse, and I definitely think that's something that's reflected in real life after any sort of bad scenario where things change. Another one I thought was fear, and I thought this was like represented in just how edgy the group was, and how like when the stranger approached, they all pulled out their weapons, and just how everybody was kind of on guard the whole time. And then camaraderie, how everybody wanted to be together and share these stories around the campfire and talked about loved ones and be together, especially in trying times. I thought that was a pretty prominent theme. As to address the Act 3 part where they actually perform a play inside the play, which is meta theater, I would characterize that play within a play as a Greek tragedy with the characteristics of a tragic protagonist or hero. Also, catastrophe and fate, I believe, were also two other common themes of that play in there. And then also, just something cool that I thought about that part of the play was just how resourceful they were being, even in their trying times. They really wanted to make the play seem realistic. So, like when they had like candles representing the flickering TV and stuff like that, I just thought that was interesting and relating it to like shows I've seen about post-apocalyptical stuff going on, how you have to be really resourceful. So that was just an interesting point to me. But in the meta theater play within a play's reference to the past, Mr. Burns, I believe, was one since he was kind of the heartless power plant owner, and the tragedy that happened that caused the apocalypse had to do with power plant meltdowns. Also, the chorus during the play recounted people that died in those power plant meltdowns, and also the big portion of the play was not a big portion, but part of the play was focused around the actual dialogue that took place in the first act about the original Simpsons episode. So that was another reference. As for pop culture that would live through an apocalypse, I believe shows like The Walking Dead and stuff that's about I can't pronounce it. Stuff like that would survive, and that people would try and maybe imitate tactics that they saw on the show just because it's the same scenario. And then my two questions are: why did Anne Washburn choose The Simpsons TV show to write this play about? And why did what did Mr. Burns symbolize in the play?